Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Dibs, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Today, we are breaking down my top 10 interior offensive linemen in the 2024 NFL Draft. Guys, if you love the draft and you want more draft content, please consider subscribing. Let's go. It's time to talk about one of, if not the best, pure center prospect in this year's class. For teams in need of a long-term starter at center, Jackson Powers Johnson is your man. Powers Johnson is a quick twitch, explosive, and powerful run blocker who can equally excel in gap or zone concepts. He does a very good job of covering up, lifting, and securing defensive tackles in the post on double teams with jarring power on feeds to bump them over as the drive man. Powers Johnson's versatility is one of the best in the class. His run blocking is impressive, he is consistent at creating a push at the initial point of attack, and he fires off the line of scrimmage. He's able to get out in space and land blocks when leading the pack and has a lot of lower body strength and leg drive that allows him to move defenders in the run game. He also demonstrates good leadership at the center position, recognizing blitzes and stunts while being able to create a good pocket for the quarterback in pass protection. For weaknesses, there aren't really a lot. This is one of the more flawless interior O-lineman prospects in the draft. If we were to get nitpicky, his hip dexterity isn't the greatest, and there is a chance that he doesn't test the best in the agility drills during the draft process, but all of those can be erased and doesn't hinder him as a prospect on the interior. Jackson Powers Johnson is one of the most eye-popping interior offensive linemen in the 2024 NFL Draft. His versatility, knowledge, and experience at multiple positions within the offensive line are intriguing. Becoming more developed in the passing game would benefit him in the long run. With no major flaws or concerns, this guy should be able to step in as a day one starter, especially in a versatile scheme. Right now, I've got a round 1 to top of round 2 grade on Jackson Powers Johnson. Let's watch some highlights. Graham Barton's 5-position versatility is one of the top differentiators on his profile. He has experience at both tackle and center, and his combination of athleticism, power, flexibility, footwork feel, anchor strength, football IQ, and physicality allows him to seamlessly transition between any of these roles. In regard to stance, power, and nastiness, Graham Barton is undoubtedly a first-round talent. He plays smart and has his head on a swivel when executing blocks in the second level. Barton does an excellent job using his hips to explode upward through his block, letting him not only strike the defensive lineman with a punch, but also maintain leverage on him throughout. For the most part, when Barton has you in his grips, defenders have serious trouble getting off. When it comes to negatives, there aren't a lot outside the average arm length. It's important to note that the ACC this season was not the biggest of challenges for left tackles. Even against Florida State, he barely faced off against top prospect Jared Verse. There were too many times when faced with speed, Graham Barton reverted to having his arms and hands outside of the pass rusher's frame, which can be a recipe for many holding calls in the NFL. But really, all that can be cleaned up with better technique at the next level. Of course, the question on everyone's mind is, where does Barton translate best? His arm length is average at best, and that often has been a factor when tackles move the guard in the NFL. Much like Titans first-round pick Peter Skoronski from the 2023 draft, I'm of the mind that while Barton could survive at tackle, he projects best at guard or center, and a move inside would help mitigate Barton's arm length concerns while also maximizing his most exciting traits: his explosiveness, physicality, leverage acquisition, and angle awareness. Graham Barton looks like a top 40 prospect and a Pro Bowl caliber technician that should get attention at the back end of round 1 or top of round 2. Barton is one of the most polished and NFL-ready prospects there is in this draft. However, the NFL has shown a preference toward athletic freaks over strong technicians with lower ceilings, despite data showing that players with subpar technique have a higher bust rate. Additionally, position bias in the NFL is very much real, yet it is still difficult to find perennial Pro Bowl guards. Graham Barton may very well offer just that, and this guy is an absolute stud. I absolutely love Graham Barton. Let's watch some highlights. Troy Fautanu has been a bookend tackle for the Huskies for 2 consecutive seasons. Fautanu gets out of his stance with the quickness needed to take the wind out of a defender's pass rush. He's got impressive lateral agility to mirror rushers without surrendering leverage and showcases quick and nimble feet. In pass protection, this is a charged up, easy mover out of his stance and in his sets with a default aggressive attacking mentality that he works to balance with flashes of tact and poise. He works in varied strikes and pass sets to keep rushers guessing with an understanding of how to maximize his length and keep defenders at his fingertips. One of the bigger question marks for Fautanu is his arm length. It looks less than the ideal length. Fautanu punches in pass protection and hand placement can be a little sloppy and wild. This lessens his overall effectiveness and makes him work harder to secure the rep. Everyone loves his aggressiveness as a blocker, but it can create issues. We've also seen him overset in pass protection at times. Having said all this, it's truly difficult to nitpick Fautanu's profile. As one might expect from an older prospect, he has an incredibly high floor and also has the athleticism and flexibility to be an impact starter in the NFL. This is a twitched up, explosive blocker who brings a tone-setting demeanor and projects best inside at guard with tackle versatility in his back pocket. His tools and skill set should land him a starting job right away, and he has Pro Bowl potential within his first contract as he settles into a full-time role inside. Right now, I've got a late first round to early second round grade on Troy Fautanu. Let's watch some highlights. Sedrick Van Pran is a skilled run blocker who is stout at the point of attack. He has solid quickness and burst to negotiate and secure rush lanes on combo blocks and a firm grasp of how to work under, create lift, and torque defenders out of position. He reads his keys well on climbs, timely releasing on the right angle of departure to line up close proximity targets. In pass protection, Sedrick Van Pran provides a sturdy presence when he can get his hands inside to clench tightly aligned rushers, flashing effective independent hands to disrupt their timing to win quickly. He is best with guard help, where he can utilize his frame and strength to plug the A-gap, but he will struggle away from help when having to mirror against wider rush alignment spinners and late loopers. Sedrick Van Pran is a better football player than he is an athlete, so if you're looking for top-end traits that will transfer to any scheme or concept, you might be disappointed. There are times where he struggles to flash and redirect laterally to close the door on twists and stunts. Additionally, he showed some limitations with his short area quickness to climb and slam the door shut when coming off double teams, even when his angles were effective. Overall, Sedrick Van Pran is a highly experienced center who offers an effective mix of power and mobility. He's a viable starting option for an NFL franchise upon his entry into the league, thanks to his learned experiences over 3 years of starting for Georgia. Getting stronger and continuing to work on leverage should help Van Pran grow as a prospect. In summary, I think Van Pran projects as an impact starter as a run blocker early on his NFL career, and he has Pro Bowl upside with more pass blocking development. As we currently stand, I see Sedrick Van Pran as a day 2 prospect. Let's watch some highlights. Zack Frazer is a densely built center with a good center of gravity. He is a former wrestler and it certainly shows on tape. Frazier is an excellent run blocker who comes off the ball fast with his pads low to quickly gain leverage on defenders. He has excellent hand use to win the inside chest plate and has outstanding grip strength to control and steer his defender. Once Zack Frazer is connected to defenders, the rep is usually over. In the passing game, Zack Frazer displays excellent intelligence and awareness. He quickly can key and diagnose stunts in games and seamlessly pass them over. His low center of gravity allows him to anchor against most bull rushes, but his lack of arm length will allow longer defenders to win his chest and drive him back. Additionally, his lack of quickness will leave his edges exposed at times when facing quicker interior disruptors. When it comes to negatives, most of the areas for improvement listed for Zack Frazer are minor inconsistencies or non-elite traits rather than glaring catastrophic flaws. Frazer might not be an elite athlete and he doesn't have an overwhelming reach, but aside from that, he's incredibly well-rounded. In the run game, Frazier is mobile, instinctive, and a physical blocker with a finisher's mentality. And in the passing game, he's a synergetic pass protector with great extension, mechanics, lateral mobility, and stunt awareness. Overall, Zack Frazer has starter-level traits at the center position, but his ceiling is likely capped as a reliable starter as he lacks the high-end athleticism and length to be at the top of his position. Frazier is an experienced center-only prospect with adequate size, solid athletic ability, and very good play strength that he combines with high-level football IQ and competitive toughness. Frazier projects as a long-term, dependable starter at the pivot, and I've got a day 2 grade on him. Let's watch some highlights. Reliable is the first word that comes to mind when watching Cooper Beebe's tape, and it's a word that's backed up by his reputation as one of the best blockers in college football, period. His 4-position versatility and experience alone will earn fans, but at guard, he translates super well. Cooper Beebe has tremendous size, width, and mass as an interior blocker. He's not an elite athlete, but he's mobile enough to get out in space as a pulling blocker, maximizing his opportunities with stellar angle awareness and football IQ. At contact, he has the strength, power, and length to torque his opponents into submission. Of course, physical tools also play a role in the mitigation of Cooper Beebe's upside. While he's a passable athlete, he doesn't have elite explosiveness, quickness, or recovery capacity, and he also lacks elite length, which in turn siphons some power capacity on punches. Additionally, Beebe isn't the most flexible blocker, and with his dense, tightly wound frame, maintaining pad level and controlled lean can be an issue at times. These issues, when combined, give Beebe a slightly lower ceiling than his earlier round counterparts. To sum it up, Cooper Beebe is a very physically imposing and powerful guard with the versatility to help out and perform solidly at 3 other spots. He's a high floor player who's going to give you a powerful run blocker from either side. He also has good size to athleticism, solid pass protection, and experience. The guard position isn't considered a high pick worthy priority due to the fact most teams find quality guard play in rounds 5 through 7 or in the undrafted free agent pool. Therefore, the draft value of interior linemen, much like running backs, receives a yearly hit. Regardless, I see Cooper Beebe as a day 2 selection in the 2024 NFL Draft. Let's watch some highlights. Zak Zinter is as reliable as they come. He's been a constant fixture up front and boasts strong durability as an interior blocker. They say that the best ability is availability, and Zinter's constant presence should not be taken for granted, especially in a position group where chemistry is so vital to success. Also helping Zinter's effectiveness is his high football IQ. It doesn't take long to realize you're dealing with a very sharp football player. His experience has provided plenty of lessons, but Zinter has also been recognized with honors in regard to academics and leadership. Zinter is scheme diverse, and he has experience playing all across the offensive line at Michigan, but I don't see a lot of positional appeal elsewhere across the line. I do believe he's a guard through and through, one that checks all the essential boxes, but lacks the sexy physical traits or raw explosive power that would prompt him to get drafted early in April. It's also important to note that Zak Zinter suffered a broken tibia and fibula when he got rolled up from behind while run blocking against Ohio State in November. The good news is that Zak Zinter suffered the best worst case scenario you could ask for. His recovery timeline was reported as shorter, which should make him eligible to play during his rookie season in the NFL. In summary, Zak Zinter has all the makings of a starting guard at the professional level. Granted, I believe he's a guard exclusive prospect, which does put a damper on his NFL resume and the demand he will be in for the 2024 NFL Draft. That said, this guy feels like a high floor player who should be a capable starter in most schemes thanks to his length, anchor, and natural power. Right now, I've got a day 2 grade on Zak Zinter. Let's watch some highlights. Christian Haynes has been a consistent presence at right guard since his arrival on campus for the Huskies. Haynes redshirted in 2018, his first year on campus, but did appear in 2 games that season. Since then, he has started at right guard on a consistent basis, earning plenty of recognition along the way. Christian Haynes is quick-footed with smooth movement skills to cover a large area. He's rangy with above average lateral ability and bursts off the snap, setting up quickly with little wasted motion. In the run game, Haynes plays with a mean streak and does a nice job generating a push at the initial point of attack. Haynes always seems to be in the right spot at the right time. He takes proper angles to the second level and uses his long arms and strong hands to clamp down on defenders. Let's talk about weaknesses. Although he lacks ideal height, Christian Haynes is a legit prospect. He is a good and effective run blocker and an above average pass protector. If he improves his abilities at the second level, winds up with the right coaching staff, and gets his body in shape, this could be a really high value pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Christian Haynes was one of the most under the radar standouts in college football last season. He might be a player an NFL team likes more at center than guard, but whichever position he plays on the interior, he put his best foot forward last season. He can be a starting NFL guard, but his football IQ, explosiveness off the line, and athleticism will give him a chance to be a big-time center at the next level. Right now, I see this guy being drafted sometime in that 3rd or 4th round of the 2024 draft. Let's watch some highlights. Christian Mahogany is a 3-year starter inside Boston College's 60-40 run-pass split, motion-heavy, play-action-based scheme centered around a downhill multiple run game featuring duo power and inside zone. Mahogany is a home run hitting presence on the interior with the size, power, and bully mentality to unseat and punish defenders on contact. This translates most on down blocks, double teams, inside zone combo blocks, and as a puller. Let's talk about strengths. This is one of the nastiest and most physically overwhelming interior linemen in this year's draft. Mahogany is a big, powerful, tone-setting presence at guard who can impose his will in a downhill, vertical-based run game centered around RPOs and play action. However, he will need to learn to add patience and polish to his footwork to become more of a steady presence rather than a pure bouncer. When it comes to negatives, Mahogany can be a bit top-heavy. His range and length may be relatively limited, and he can look a bit lumbering and uncoordinated when operating in space. While he gives maximum effort, his stamina constrains his range, and he's more of a repeated shover than someone who gets his hands locked on inside and sustains throughout the whistle. His lower body flexibility appears average at best, and he doesn't have a lot of lateral quickness, which causes him to struggle to recover against quicker opponents on passing downs when his initial punch is unsuccessful. In summary, Boston College offensive guard Christian Mahogany is among the most physically dominant linemen in the country. Mahogany projects as a starting guard with positional and scheme versatility at the NFL level. He has experience at both left and right guard positions, though he has more and more recent experience at right guard. Teams might want to keep him at that position to shorten his learning curve early in his career, and I have a solid day 2 grade on him. Let's watch some highlights. Javon Cohen was the starting left guard for the Alabama Crimson Tide in 2022, where he played for the first 3 seasons of his college career. He then transferred to Miami last offseason. Javion Cohen checks the size boxes for a guard at 6'4" and nearly 340 pounds. From the jump, he moves very well for a big man. He allowed just 6 pressures on 341 pass blocking snaps for a 0.9% pressure percentage in 2022. And then just 13 pressures on 426 pressures for a 1.7 pressure percentage in 2023. Let's talk about strengths. Cohen is a competitive, versatile, athletic, and powerful guard prospect. Cohen has lined up exclusively at left guard over the course of his career, playing the position exclusively at both Alabama and Miami. Along with his size and movement skills, Javion Cohen brings the mentality you love on tape. He is always looking for extra work when there isn't a blitzer right in front of him, and he has a finishing mentality. And then we get to areas to improve upon. Cohen has limited fluidity in his lower body. He has great agility and very quick feet for a 300+ pound man, and has the movement skills to execute a variety of blocking schemes. However, there seems to be stiffness throughout his lower half, which shows up as a puller and when he's navigating the trash around the line of scrimmage. Cohen also needs to show improved conditioning and endurance at the next level. In summary, Javion Cohen has a real chance to become a starting guard in the NFL. He has the scheme diversity to play any offense with enough power for downhill rushing attacks, as well as the athleticism to play in zone schemes. I've got a late day 2, early day 3 grade on Javion Cohen. Let's watch some highlights. All right, guys, those are my top 10 interior O-linemen in the 2024 NFL Draft. Do you agree or disagree with my rankings? Let me know down in that comment section below. For everything NFL Draft, lock it down to Edge of Philly Sports. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay awesome.